Ever dream of a career where you're not just fluent in different languages, but like fluent in different worlds?
Mm.
That's what we're diving into today. The
Okay.
ins and outs of becoming an interpreter.
Cool.
And to help us decode this fascinating field, we're tapping into the insights of RoleCatcher's career guides.
Great.
You've shared some really interesting material with us, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a career path that often sparks curiosity.
Yeah.
But, few people really grasp the complexities beyond just the surface.
Right.
It's about so much more than just bilingualism.
RoleCatcher dives right into that, highlighting high-pressure scenarios like courtrooms or live broadcasts.
Mhm.
I can only imagine the nerves of steel required for that.
Oh, yeah.
What's fascinating here is that it seems like a career perfectly balanced between human skill and cutting-edge technology.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're seeing a projected 20% growth rate in this field,
Wow.
which speaks to the impact of globalization and technology.
Oh.
But here's the catch.
Well-
This isn't about replacing humans with robots.
Right.
It's about understanding that the essence of interpreting cultural nuances, conveying tone, that human touch,
Yeah.
that's where the magic happens.
So it's less about replacing and more about enhancing.
Yeah.
I'm curious, for someone intrigued by this blend of skills and eager to break into the field, what are some practical first steps RoleCatcher recommends?
They offer some surprisingly practical advice.
Okay.
They recommend internships, volunteering with organizations where language skills are critical, or even exploring roles at language schools.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about gaining real-world experience and building that foundation.
Practical experience.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense no matter the field.
Hmm.
But finding those opportunities, that's where things can get tricky.
Yeah,
Thankfully, RoleCatcher has a tool for that, right?
absolutely.
Okay.
It's called the RoleCatcher Capture plugin.
Okay.
Think of it as your personal job search assistant,
Okay.
gathering potential leads from all corners of the internet and putting them right at your fingertips.
Nice.
The goal is to make the job search as efficient as possible.
That's a game changer for anyone who's spent hours clicking through job boards.
Oh, tell me about it.
It sounds like a dream for staying organized.
For sure.
But RoleCatcher doesn't stop there, do they?
No, they don't.
They emphasize networking as a crucial aspect of landing your dream job.
They do, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Networking is incredibly valuable in this field.
Yeah.
They stress the importance of connecting with other professionals, attending conferences, even offering pro bono services to get your name out there and build a strong reputation.
It's like they say, your network is your net worth.
Exactly.
And speaking of worth, let's talk about the interview process.
Yeah.
Arguably the most nerve-wracking part of any job hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I can tell, RoleCatcher has a treasure trove of resources to help candidates prepare.
They really do.
Like what?
One thing that stood out to me is their massive database of interview questions,
Okay.
over 120,000.
Wow.
But it's not just the quantity.
Yeah.
It's the
Right.
quality.
Okay.
These aren't generic run-of-the-mill questions.
Yeah.
They're tailored specifically to the interpreter field.
Okay, so no more, what's your greatest weakness for the millionth time?
Exactly.
What kind of questions are we talking about?
Right.
Give us a sneak peek.
Well, for example, you might get asked, how do you handle difficult clients or situations?
Okay.
Or what's your experience with simultaneous interpreting?
Mm-hmm.
These are targeted questions that really get to the heart of what it takes to excel in this field.
Now that's what I call getting you ready to shine.
Right.
And what about this AI feedback they offer on practice interviews?
Yeah.
It sounds incredibly high tech.
It really is quite impressive.
Yeah.
Imagine having a personal career coach in your pocket.
Okay.
That's essentially what this is.
Wow.
You record yourself answering practice questions, and their AI analyzes your delivery, your content,
Huh?
everything.
Oh, wow.
It's all about fine-tuning your skills and boosting your confidence for those high-stakes interviews.
Okay, I have to admit this AI integration is blowing my mind a little bit.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
But before we dive too deep into the tech side, let's step back and make sure we're all on the same page about what an interpreter actually does.
Good idea. You're right. It's easy to assume we all have the same understanding.
Right.
But RoleCatcher's explanation is insightful.
Okay.
They go beyond just translating words.
Yeah.
They talk about capturing the true essence of a message,
Okay.
including tone and intent.
Right.
It's about bridging linguistic and cultural gaps in real time.
That sounds incredibly demanding.
It can be.
It seems like mental gymnastics, especially when you consider the variety of settings. RoleCatcher outlines offices, hospitals, courtrooms, even remote work through video conferencing. So,
That's one of the appealing aspects of this career, though.
okay.
The diverse environments keep things interesting.
Right.
You're always learning, adapting, and expanding your skills.
So we've got the excitement of diverse environments, the pressure of high-stakes scenarios, and the mental agility of a linguistic acrobat.
It's quite a combination.
What could possibly be the downside?
Well, RoleCatcher is upfront about the fact that it's not all sunshine and roses.
Okay.
They highlight some of the challenges,
Like what?
like the potential for high stress levels, the long hours that sometimes come with the territory, and the risk of emotional burnout.
It can't all be smooth sailing, can it?
Not exactly.
So what they're saying is that it takes a special kind of person to thrive in this field.
Absolutely. It requires resilience, adaptability, and a true passion for language and communication.
Right.
But for the right person, the rewards are immense.
I can imagine. Okay, we're back and ready to dive even deeper into the world of interpreting.
All right.
We've talked about the excitement, the demands, even the technology involved.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm curious about the human side of things.
Okay.
RoleCatcher touches on the potential for emotional burnout.
Right.
And I have to admit that really piqued my interest.
Yeah, it's a critical aspect of the profession that often gets overlooked.
Really?
Yeah, imagine stepping into the shoes of people from all walks of life, absorbing their emotions, their stories, especially in high-pressure situations.
Right.
It takes a toll.
Yeah.
And RoleCatcher doesn't shy away from that.
It's like being an emotional sponge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Soaking up everything from joy and excitement to stress, anxiety, even trauma in some cases.
Exactly.
And when you consider the settings, RoleCatcher highlighted courtrooms, hospitals.
Oh, yeah.
Those are emotionally charged environments.
Precisely. Think about interpreting in a legal case where someone's freedom is on the line, or during a medical emergency where lives hang in the balance.
Oh, God.
Those are incredibly intense situations.
Wow.
And interpreters are right there processing not just the words, but the raw emotions behind them.
That brings up something else RoleCatcher mentioned.
Okay.
Vicarious trauma.
Yeah.
I have to admit that's not something I had considered before, but it makes perfect sense in this context.
Right.
Can you explain what that is and how it might manifest for interpreters?
Sure. Vicarious trauma is essentially secondary traumatic stress. It can happen when someone is repeatedly exposed to other people's traumatic experiences, even if they haven't personally experienced those events themselves.
So even though the interpreter isn't the one directly experiencing the trauma, they're still deeply affected by witnessing it and conveying those experiences to others.
Right.
That's a heavy burden to carry.
Absolutely. Imagine interpreting for a refugee sharing their harrowing escape from a war-torn country or a survivor of domestic violence recounting their ordeal.
Mm-hmm.
Those are incredibly difficult narratives to process, even if you're just the interpreter.
It sounds like emotional resilience and self-care are essential for navigating those challenges.
For sure.
Does RoleCatcher offer any guidance on that front?
They do touch on the importance of self-care,
Okay.
emphasizing that interpreters need to prioritize their own well-being to avoid burnout.
Right.
They suggest seeking support from colleagues, mentors, or even therapists who understand the unique pressures of the profession.
It's a good reminder that asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Self-care isn't selfish. It's essential for anyone in a demanding profession, especially one as emotionally charged as interpreting.
Right.
But emotional challenges aside,
Okay.
RoleCatcher subtly hints at another layer of complexity.
Which is...
Ethical dilemmas.
Oh, right.
Can you tell us more about that?
Sure. Ethical considerations are woven into the fabric of this profession.
Okay.
Imagine being in a situation where you're interpreting for a client and you realize they're omitting crucial information, potentially even being untruthful.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remain silent, upholding your neutrality as an interpreter, or do you speak up, potentially jeopardizing the entire process?
Wow, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's a real ethical tightrope walk.
It is.
Where do you even begin to navigate that kind of situation?
Well, there are no easy answers, and that's what makes these dilemmas so challenging.
Right.
Interpreters are bound by a code of ethics, which includes principles like confidentiality, impartiality, and accuracy.
Right.
But sometimes those principles can come into conflict with each other, or even with personal values.
So it's about finding that delicate balance between your professional obligations and your personal ethics.
Exactly. And that's what makes this career so compelling.
Yeah.
It's not just about linguistic skills. It's about navigating complex human interactions and making judgment calls in the moment.
It sounds like a constant process of learning and adapting both professionally and personally.
Absolutely. And it's essential for anyone considering this field to be aware of these nuances.
Okay.
RoleCatcher does a great job of highlighting both the exciting possibilities and the potential challenges, giving a well-rounded perspective on what it truly means to be an interpreter.
They've certainly given us a lot to think about.
They have.
But before we get lost in thought, let's shift gears and talk about the practical realities of this career path.
Okay.
Where do the jobs exist? What are the different employment options? We'll unpack all of that when we return for the final part of our deep dive into the world of interpreting. Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of interpreting. We've talked about the skills, the emotional nuances, even the ethical considerations. But now it's time to get down to the practicalities.
Okay.
Where do these jobs actually exist?
Well, you might be surprised by the sheer variety of settings where interpreters are needed.
Okay.
RoleCatcher's guide paints a really vivid picture.
Okay.
We're talking government agencies, international organizations, hospitals, courtrooms, conference centers, even freelance work for media outlets or translation agencies.
Wow. It's incredible how many doors open up with language skills.
Yeah.
So someone with a passion for languages could find themselves working with diplomats, doctors, lawyers, maybe even celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
What insights does RoleCatcher offer for navigating these diverse paths?
One of the key distinctions they highlight is the choice between a salaried position and a freelance career.
Okay.
A salaried role, perhaps with a government agency or a corporation, offers stability benefits and a regular paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
It often involves specializing in a specific field, like legal or medical interpreting.
That makes sense. A steady path for those who thrive in a structured environment.
Right.
So what about freelancing? What are the advantages and challenges of that route?
Well, freelancing offers incredible flexibility and autonomy.
Right.
You set your own schedule,
Yeah.
choose your clients, and have the potential for higher earnings.
Yeah.
But it also requires entrepreneurial spirit.
Okay.
You're responsible for finding clients, managing your business, and weathering the ups and downs of self-employment.
It's the classic trade-off, stability versus freedom.
Exactly.
But it sounds like RoleCatcher provides guidance for those leaning towards the freelance path.
They do. They emphasize the importance of building a strong online presence,
Okay.
networking with potential clients, and specializing in a niche area to stand out from the crowd.
Right.
They even recommend exploring professional certifications to add credibility.
So it's about showcasing your expertise and building trust in a competitive market.
It is.
But let's be honest, even with the best resources, breaking into any field comes with its own set of challenges.
Oh, for sure.
What are some common mistakes aspiring interpreters should avoid?
One pitfall is underestimating the level of skill required.
Okay.
Fluency in 2 languages is just the starting point.
Right.
Successful interpreters possess exceptional listening skills,
Right.
cultural sensitivity, the ability to think on their feet, and a deep understanding of ethical considerations.
So it's not just about linguistic gymnastics, but also navigating cultural nuances and ethical complexities.
Yeah, it's a lot more than just words on a page.
It sounds like a constant learning process.
It absolutely is.
Okay.
And that brings up another common mistake,
What's that?
becoming complacent.
Okay.
Overconfidence can lead to errors, especially in high-stakes situations.
Right.
Continuous learning and professional development are crucial for staying sharp and maintaining high standards.
It's a good reminder that even seasoned professionals can benefit from expanding their knowledge and refining their skills.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And finally, aspiring freelancers especially should avoid neglecting the business side of things.
Okay.
Marketing your services, managing finances, and building strong client relationships are crucial for success.
It's about being an entrepreneur as much as an interpreter.
100%.
Now looking towards the future.
Okay.
With technology constantly evolving, what does that mean for the field of interpreting?
That's a great question.
Will we reach a point where AI replaces human interpreters altogether?
You know, that's a question many people are pondering.
Right.
While technology can certainly enhance the work of interpreters, I believe the human element will always be indispensable.
Okay.
The ability to grasp nuances, cultural context, emotional subtext,
Yeah.
that's where human interpreters really excel.
So it's about humans and technology working in tandem, each playing to their strengths.
Exactly.
What a fascinating dynamic.
In fact, RoleCatcher suggests that technological advancements might actually create more opportunities for interpreters.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How so?
Well, as technology breaks down geographical barriers, there's a growing demand for interpreters in virtual settings, video conferences, webinars, online events.
That makes perfect sense. As the world becomes increasingly interconnected, the need for skilled communicators to bridge those gaps becomes even more vital.
Couldn't agree more.
That's so interesting.
Yeah,
So for anyone even remotely intrigued by this field, the future is full of possibilities.
it really is.
That's an inspiring thought to end on.
It is.
As we wrap up our deep dive, what are some key takeaways you hope our listeners will carry with them?
I'd say embrace the challenges, prioritize continuous learning, and never underestimate the power of human connection. It's a demanding but incredibly rewarding career, one with the potential to make a tangible difference in the world.
Beautifully said.
Thanks.
And for those seeking a comprehensive guide to navigate this fascinating landscape, RoleCatcher's career resources are an invaluable asset.
For sure.
They've truly created an exceptional resource.
They really have.
And with that, we'll wrap up our deep dive into the world of interpreting.
Okay.
We hope you found this exploration as insightful and inspiring as we did.
Yeah, me too.
Until next time, keep those language skills sharp and stay curious.